Hello and welcome, Fish here with another DCS video. In this essential guide, we're going to look at a Case 1 landing. And I'm going to concentrate on the things that I believe are the most difficult and most important in the landing. There is some documentation, lots of documentation out there as to how the pattern looks and what speed and altitude you should be at in different parts of the pattern. But the couple of pieces that are important for me is that you need to set your aircraft and configure it as quickly as possible on downwind. That means getting to on speed, getting the flaps and gear down as quickly as possible. So set the gear and flaps down once you hit 250 knots in the first turn. Once you've got on speed, you need to drive your speed, your altitude down to anything between 600 and 650 knots. It's good for me. Once you've got that, take a look at the boat, know where it is, and start into the turn. You should be dropping down in the turn to reach an altitude of about 350 to 400 feet altitude when you're aligned with the boat. Also, don't forget that the approach to the boat, the actual landing space on the boat is offset by approximately 11 degrees from the heading or the BRC of the boat. So always set yourself up a little to the starboard of the boat. And what I normally do is I track in towards the tower, which is just slightly to the right of the landing zone. And that enables me to do a final lineup just before touchdown. Another important feature is that you should be low on fuel. And what I normally do is I try and configure the aircraft so that I'm anywhere between 2,500 and 300 pounds of fuel when I turn into the brake. And this gives us an on speed of somewhere between, depending on your actual aircraft weight, but somewhere between 140, possibly 135, and maybe 145 or 150. But this is another thing that you need to understand for your particular aircraft, and it's something you can practice, is to understand and know roughly the on-speed speed that you're going to get for your configuration. So with that in mind, we're going to head towards the carrier. We're going to configure our comms, tune in for our TACAN, set our BRC line on our course heading, and figure our MFCDs. We're also going to start spilling fuel and talk to the tower. So a lot has to happen in a short space of time. Okay, I've set our automatic speed, and I'm just going to come up a little bit. And set our barometric altitude. Now our comms 127,500. And then we're going to talk to tower.
Marshall 015, marking mops 180413,
And set our
Angels 1, stay 3.9.
015, Mother's weather is visibility 10 plus mile. Scattered clouds at 8,000, altimeter is 290.903. Case 1 recovery, expected BRC 355.
So we've just set our BRC 355 and report to see her at 10. We're 11 miles currently. Left MFCD to HSI. Right to our port. See you at 10.
015, see you at 10.
Update state, switch tower.
015, stay 3.8.
Started dump fuel. We're going to set our bingo to 2500. And we should be able to stop dumping before we get into the turn. Hook bypass to carrier, landing lights to off, anti-skid to off, and hook down. Launch bar up.
Tower 015. Overhead Angels 1. State 2.6.
Bingo. Bingo.
015. Tower Roger.
Okay, so we're
ERC 355. Signal is Charlie.
dumping fuel is off. We'll set our altitude to 800. We're configured well for the approach now. Just checking around, everything seems to be clear. Nothing in the air. Deck looks clear. Deck is clear, nothing in the pattern. Switch our autopilot off. And we are good to go to the brake. So throttle to idle. Cage the flight path marker, so you'll always see it in the hood. Our target rollout, gear and flaps down now. Our target rollout is 175. Keep an eye on your speed, don't let it bleed off too much. Starting to drop in. The nose is starting to drop. So rolling out. And now set ourselves on speed. Okay, adjusting the trim and the throttle. Now we're 670. We're looking good. 650. Come down a little bit more. And that's good enough for me. Let's start turning in. Dropping the throttle a little bit because we want to be dropping our altitude now as we're in the turn. Looking at our BRC line on the MFDs. Keep an eye on the boat. Slow down your turn if you find you're turning in too quickly. 480, we're probably a little bit high. That's okay, 450. We're looking good. And when you roll out to level, speed is going to rise a little bit, so just be conscious of that. Okay, that looks like a good lineup for me. Just pulling back on the throttle a little bit to allow me to settle in. Still retaining on speed. And looking good. Hook down. Starting to line up. You can see the ball. Doesn't call it yet. Still a little bit to the left. Okay, there we have it now. See the ball?
015. Port ball 2.0.
Okay, we have a good line up there. Good height. Drifting left. A little bit high. Drop the power. Push.
Bingo. Bingo.
Okay, wire 2, but that's a pretty decent case 1. Last thing to do is to flaps up, gear, hook up,
Bingo.
and
Bingo.
push out of the way.
Fuel low.
And I'm going to fold the
Fuel
wings.
low.
In order to be able to park up. And the important thing is to get out of the way of the cats, as we may have other traffic incoming. And take it outside. Looks like a decent parking. So that's pretty much it on the Case 1 Essential Guide. I hope you found this useful and interesting, and feel free to like, dislike, comment and subscribe. And until the next one, this is Fish out. Thank you for watching.